dance around your kittens, and away we go!
This is RamView. That's funny. Okay, there we go.
It's hot out there, but let's blow them off the line of scrimmage. Headline, Los Angeles.
Live from the RamCave, I'm Joe Trosian, and this is RamView, the November 3rd, 2025 edition, brought to you by Kistler Law Firm. Injured in an auto accident, need help, got questions? Call Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. That's Kistler Law at 661-206-6990. And check out KistlerLawFirm.com. That's one word, KistlerLawFirm.com. Kistler Law, they've been fighting for you since 92. And by Temple City Auto Repair. Having some auto issues, get yourself some John and Henry at TempleCityAutoRepair.com. And of course, a new friend of the show, Sports Ball Games. Make every game day funner for you and your crew. Play sports ball. Playing for a hill of beans or just jelly beans. We'll talk more about them in a little bit. Sorry, I'm smiling here because it always happens. Something comes across and I had to laugh at something and I missed my cue and I threw the ball like a girl. So anyway, we're here. Not much has changed. Everyone's getting ready for the trade deadline. What are the Rams going to do? What are other teams doing? Philly has made some moves. You got to admire that about Philly is that they do go out there and they make those moves. So it is fun to watch. Gilbert Gonzalez. Joe, even you have to say that was – let me put that there. Okay, Joe, even you have to say that was a great World Series won by the Dodgers. Yes, it was. Best World Series since 75. Best World Series I've seen since 75 with teams I didn't care about, right? And it was fantastic. And I was talking about it with somebody at my church, and I said, you guys may not remember the 75 series. And then I had the wife lean over and tell me, she says, Pastor Joe, we weren't alive in 1975. So that's how long ago it was. But yeah, great World Series. Great World Series. Stop leading me astray here, right? Let's see. Scotty B, thank you for clicking on. Hey, guys, some of your names are not coming through like they do on YouTube where I've seen you before. So I apologize if I'm pretending like I don't know you. But let's see what Scotty B says. Really like to see the ball being spread around. You know, I have no problem with that. I'm good with it. But I also, I brought this up, I think, on Friday's show, was the fact that, hey, if Nakua is open, and it's like that Cooper Cup season in 2021, right? And a little bit before and a little bit after, is that sometimes these guys are so open. It's like, I'm going to him, right? Most reliable, number one receiver. I'm going to him. And, but I do like it being spread around as well. I really do. I like, as you can see, even with Nakua on the field, Adams is being more consistently targeted, right? And I think we're seeing in Adams something that's just going to get better as his rapport with Stafford grows. We talked about this on the Morning Blast. Rams won. Not only did they win, but they gave their fans almost nothing to think about, with the exception of the kicking game. And I think some of it is on Cardi, but I think most of it still goes back to Chase Blackburn. We're not seeing Cardi miss a bunch of kicks just when everything's executed right, except for his foot. We're seeing issues along that front line. That second one especially, you could tell they were absolutely right. He kicked it to avoid getting blocked, and there are guys getting in there awfully fast. And this one's on Chase Blackburn. This one's absolutely on Chase Blackburn, and they need to tighten that up. And, McVay, typical McVay. He says, I'm the head coach. I own it. I got it. It's my responsibility. And that responsibility could mean to unemployment for somebody if they don't tighten up that ship. Let's see here. USA Expat, what do you got here? We need to kick butt on the Niners so that I can finally put the first Ram game behind me. You know what? I got to tell you, confidence, right? I think coming out of this game, we saw the team play better in London. They had the bye. They came out strong with no fog or haze yesterday. They came out strong. That was another beautiful thing. And the other thing that was beautiful, especially for the defense, and we'll talk about the snaps here in a second, what was really good in regards to the defense was they didn't play. They played half a game, 40 snaps total, right? And most of those snaps, all of them were played by the secondary guys. But who was it? Durant, Forbes, Curl, and Lake played all the snaps of the game, but there were only 40 snaps played. So this was good. So this team is fresh and ready to rumble. And I don't know, I got a good feeling about this Frisco game. I really do. I really, really do. Gilbert Gonzalez, great suggestion here. Can we trade Chase for Bones Fossil? Give them a 7th in 2029. He's in Titanville, isn't he? Yeah, he's in Tennessee. Maybe they could work some deal out. Maybe a name that was floated around was Calvin Ridley. Maybe we combine Calvin Ridley and a draft pick or something for Bones Fossil. But something's not right there with the kicking game, and I think we definitely need to work that sucker out. USA expat, I second that, Ken. Oh no, this is Micah Gutierrez. I second that. I hope we play angry from the first snap. I just hope we come out to play and not in a fog. Let's see, Michael Negretti. Pastor Joe, I'm glad the Rams won, but I thought the D-line should have had more sacks and pressure against a team that's not very good. You know, that's kind of a good point. But I will say this. I was watching from the RamCave here with one of the guys from Mid-Valley Sports who cover the Chargers, and they were out of town. And we were just commenting on how fast Tyler Show kept getting the ball out, right? He just kept getting the ball out of his hands. And, you know, Chris Olave played a full game, and Rashid Shaheed's a pretty decent baller too. He just kept getting rid of the ball. He got rid of the ball pretty quick. I am kind of sick of watching football and then waiting to see the subjective interpretation of whether or not something is roughing the passer. That one on Byron Young I thought was ridiculous. You know, you're going to have incidental contact with the helmets, but he wasn't targeting the quarterback in the helmet. Some of that stuff's really frying me, but you know, I was kind of frustrated. Get there. We know Fisk had one, finally got on the board there, but I was just frustrated. Not frustrated. I was frustrated with that non-sack call, but Show kept getting the ball out of his hands pretty quick, and he's so far and away better than Spencer Rattler. I think Spencer Rattler's days in the NFL are about to wind down. Let's see here. USA expat, there should be a lot of Ram fans in Levi. You think so? Will there be a lot of Ram fans in Levi? Steve, was there a burned bridge between Bones and McVay? You know, that's a great suggestion there, because I thought I heard something about that. But, you know, both guys are kind of classy in the sense that they don't talk much trash afterwards. But there was something on the books there. I do believe you're right, Steve. Was it after the 2019 season? There was something there. So, guys, you guys are pumping me with questions here. This is awesome. Let's see here. Micah Gutierrez, Blake Corum at his career high in rushing attempts and yards yesterday. If he can stop running sideways, he'll see even more playing time. Well, one of you guys suggested it the other day, and I don't think it's a bad idea. How desperate are the Chargers right now for a running back? They just lost Hassan Haskins. They just put Hassan Haskins on the IR, right? Omari and Hampton is still another week away, and is he going to be okay? Najee Harris is lost. Could you fleece the Chargers for a second-round pick? Is that possible? Could you? Would they be that desperate? Or do they pack it in because, you know, if you lose Joe Alt, come on, they're in serious trouble over there. But with that said, I like Blake Corum. Him and Kyron Williams seem to have figured out their ball security issues for the time being, and so that works out well. That's good news for the Rams. Speaking of snap counts and grades, the starting offensive line played every snap. And if you want to look at the at the grades from PFF, which when you get to the defensive side, it's really interesting. With the exception of Avila and pass protection, the offensive line graded out very well, according to PFF. But it's almost like they pinned the sack that Alaric Jackson gave up on Avila, or they didn't see Alaric Jackson give up that sack. So the grades, to me, again, look skewed. Loved, we were talking about versatility here. All 4 tight ends played. Parkinson, Allen, and Higbee all played over 40 snaps. I believe Terrence Ferguson's 24 snaps were the most of the season so far for him. And they were all targeted different and multiple times. So that part was really great to see. I will say, speaking of trade deadline, as I was sitting here in the RamCave, when we saw Nakua walking into the locker room, the first thing we thought, oh, that's what the Rams are going to be trading for. If the Rams make a deal, we think they need another veteran receiver. Because if Adams and Nakua go down, it's an awfully, awfully young wide receiver room. Not a bad wide receiver room, but a very young wide receiver room. All right, let's see. The great Tim Burns, you found us. They better get the line straight on kicks, punts, and give Cardi time. That said, he is irritating me, and he was my pick. I just want to see Cardi get a fair chance, right? Those early blocks early in the year, those weren't on Cardi. Those are the special team guys up front. This is, as they say, an operations issue. If he goes full Sam Sloman on us, then yeah, put his butt in the street. But it does have to get figured out real quick. Someone needs to have a come to Jesus moment, so to speak, in that special teams coaching room, because it's not happening. It needs to get right. Neil Gonzalez coming in and dropping his Dodgers. Okay, congratulations to the Dodgers. All right. Michael Negretti, Pastor Joe, it's interesting how the Lakers are playing better without LeBron. Hey, what is this, FanView or RamView? Luka looks great, doesn't he? I think Luka looks just unbelievable. All right, let's see here. Who do we got? TC Leforwig, thank you for clicking on. If I've met you before, I apologize, but your name doesn't appear like it did on YouTube. But we need offensive line depth for the playoff run. I think we've got that depth. So you got your starting 5 that were out there. McClendon's played well. You still have an extremely talented veteran in DJ Humphries still on this roster. You got Justin Diedick, who filled in solidly at left guard for Steve Avila. So you got those 3 guys right there. And also David Quisenberry is still on the roster. If somebody wants to do a check from yesterday, I didn't see Bo Limmer in uniform, and that would mean it's been a month since Bo Limmer has suited up. Bo Limmer is in the doghouse. So I do think the Rams do have depth on that line. And as long as everyone, doesn't fall apart in the next 9 weeks. 6233666. Blackburn has been a bad coordinator for years. But put that up there, Chief. You deserve to put that one up there. There you go. I agree. It's not worked, right? It hasn't worked really well. Let's see here. Boom. USA expat. Ferguson is building momentum for the playoffs. Yeah, and it's just nice to see the Rams get him the ball, right? It's just nice to see them trying to get him the ball. There was one play there before the Cardi disaster on that kick that went wide right. I think it was that one. Did you see when it was 3rd down and they had like 15 to go? I think that was after the Davis Allen play was screwed up on the face mask. But Stafford went to Ferguson again, but Ferguson looked like he was in triple coverage. And it's like, whoa, that's a lot of confidence in the kid when it looked like Ferguson was triple coverage. And if Ferguson was in triple coverage, who was open on the other side? I don't know if you guys remember that play, but that got us questioning here. Gilbert Gonzalez throwing it in here. What about OBJ coming back to the Rams? If he plays 80%, he will be good. I just don't know if he's got that left. I just don't know. Dolphins didn't put up with him. Ravens didn't put up with him. And I'm not talking about personality-wise. It's just he just couldn't. He's not a difference maker. I think that second ACL thing there, I think that did him in. I really do. Could he? If the Rams sign him, you got to trust the Rams, right? McSnead has earned our trust, but that was that's something to keep an eye on there. I mean, I don't know if that's really going to happen, but I wouldn't be burned if it happened. There we go. $5 Steve. Do you think the Rams make another trade? Wide receiver. That's something that I'm thinking about right now. Of course, I want something along the defensive front, but I am thinking wide receiver. And you confirmed to us Bo Limmer was inactive again. So dude's in total doghouse mode. There we go. TC, good point. Forgot about DJ Humphries. Wish we had kept Willie Lampkin, though. As a numbers game, again, I'll go back to that one. Philly claimed him, right? The Rams took the Eagles' 6th-round pick from last year, Dylan McMahon. Remember, they got Limmer in the 6th round, somewhere in the 200s. I think McMahon went like 195, someplace in there to Philly, and Philly put him on the practice squad, and the Rams poached him off the practice squad. And so I think taking Willie Lampkin was a little bit of payback from Philly. I'm just saying. Let's see. Manny Correa is out there. Manny, did you go to the Dodger game, the Ram game? Were you there? How did you feel? Let's see. Michael Negretti. Pastor Joe, what do you think of the Falcons losing on a missed extra point? Keep up the great work. If you're going to ask me the question, man, you can't provide the answer. That's it exactly. Keep up the great work. You guys are hitting me hard here. All right. You guys want to get back to the stuff I wrote? I'm happy to keep yakking. Let's see here. It's coming in fast. Let's see. With how much technique comes into play with these kickoff rule changes? I'm almost wondering if the special teams are being overcoached. Well, I don't know. I'm proud to say I played quarterback when I did play football, and I wasn't on any defense or special teams. So I can't tell you, but I know Cardi does a really good job with that. Tim Burns, I like the 13 the 13 personnel, tight end targets, no drop off from guy to guy. Yeah, I think we're feeling really confident about that room. Do you guys see any latitude there and any kind of discussion about the Rams actually making a deal for a tight end? I just don't see it. It seems crazy to me. Let's see here. Bill from Philly. Thank you, Bill. McVay said it's unlikely we made a move. I think it's a mistake if they don't. I thought he said they weren't done making moves. Oh, that's interesting. No, that's what I thought he said. USA Expat agrees with Mr. Burns. 13 personnel is special, right? It's just a new wrinkle. It's something to keep in the arsenal. I really, really do like it. Manny Correa getting ready for work. Have a great night, Manny. All right. Hobbles Growl, which is Tim Burns. Debo has the debate area it. Keep him away from the locker room. All right. You guys are just making me go all over. This is what I proposed this morning. These were a couple of players that names were floated. Rashid Shaheed was actually floated to us by the sponsor, Paul Kistler, as he and his family were at the Ram game yesterday. I think his son floated Rashid Shaheed. I like Rashid Shaheed. That wouldn't be a bad addition. He's going to be a free agent, undrafted UDFA guy that's made his way in the NFL. I like him. I like Jacoby Myers too, as long as I'm not expecting too much. And both those guys could come at a minimal cost. And then there's Calvin Ridley, whose name was floated this afternoon. I heard, okay, I'm not against Calvin Ridley. But Debo Samuel, let me make my argument, guys, before you tear me apart. I know the great Tim Burns doesn't like it, but Debo's in the last year of a contract because they voided everything. He's making 17 rocks. It's half the season's gone, so it's not going to be that much of a disaster financially. The Taxkins are done. They're done. If they don't shut Jaden Daniels down, they're fools. He's been out 3 times this year. I think, was it the knee, the hamstring, and now the elbow? The football gods, from the Pantheon of Lombardi out there in the skies and in the clouds are saying, no, Jaden, 2026, 25 is not your year. You need to sit down. They shouldn't bring him back. And they're not going anywhere with Mariota. Debo's getting old. His days are getting numbered. He's not going to get a great contract going into next year. He should be up for it. Rams should offer them something and bring him in. Debo could run that jet sweep. We don't want to see Nakua running anymore and getting hurt. Debo can line up in that 13 personnel. Debo can be physical and carry the ball and make some physical plays. If his mind is set and he wants to do that, I think he'd be great because Now he gets to go out, play into January, maybe make a couple of splash plays, and then gets a contract somewhere next year. I'm talking strictly as a rental. I would start by offering the Taxkins a 4th rounder. I'd offer them a 4th rounder and Chase Blackburn, right? And then see what happens. I didn't get any serious pushback except from the great Tim Burns, who usually him and I are on pretty similar thought processes. But I kind of like this idea. What do you guys think? I'm interested to hear your thought. Manny Correa, my son is a Saints fan. Manny, you got to work on that. Let's see. Bill. What do we got here? Bill, boom, boom, boom. Falcons playing the Colts next week, another loss. Yeah, let's get the Colts back on track. Bill does like Debo. There we go, Mr. Burns. I got Bill and Philly liking that. Let's see, TC. Debo would be our best goal line back. There you go. All right, Mr. Burns, how about a little, okay, I misread the situation. Let's give some strokes here to Pastor Joe. Are there any other kickers out there to pick up? Not if they're out there now. If they're out there now, I don't know, right? I just don't know, right? I don't think there are. Are there any of the special teams coaches out there? $5 Steve says Debo is a good roll of the dice. If he doesn't cost too much, right? He's in a walk year. He has a chance. He'd be motivated. And wouldn't he like to come play for the Rams and have 49er fans see him winning a ring with the Rams? That would be pretty cool. Mikey Gutierrez, given the quarterback injuries they've had on the field, a new stadium can't come soon enough for Washington. Hey, have you guys, good point, you brought it up here, Micah. Have you guys seen the whole, I don't know, I rant on this all the time. I want to know with 8 minutes to play, why was Stafford still in the game? With 5 minutes still to play, I want to know why he's in the game. You saw what happened to Jaden Daniels. That wasn't anything horrific. He just got pulled down, and it just happened. They need to start pulling him, right? That was ridiculous. They needed to start pulling him, and that even their sponsor, Paul Kistler, brought that up. You know, they got to straighten this out. Okay, guys, my name is Joe Trozen, a sports writer for 21 years, and now I do RamView thanks to Kistler Law. You guys can check them out there, and they have been fantastic to us. Also, Sports Ball Games has become a friend of the show. They are new. They are fledgling. And if you're looking for a way to bring your crew together on game day without the gambling stress or fantasy overload, try Sports Ball Games, free pick'em and squares, live leaderboards and bragging rights built in. One click and you're in. No fees, no spreadsheets, no headaches. Just sports fun for your whole group to enjoy. Whether you're cheering from the break room or the backyard, Sports Ball Games makes every game day a team event. Play for fun, brag for real. Join sportsballgames.com. Be sure to check that out. If you're looking over my shoulder here, you see the green finger there? That's from Sports Ball Games. They just wanted to express some appreciation. Again, like they're kind of starting out, and we're hoping to build a relationship with them going further and further down the road as they got a great thing here going. And so go to the website, go to Join Sports Ball Game. It's called joinsportsball.com. And check them out. We're going to have a QR code here in another week or so, and working on a QR code with Kistler Law, so it's easier for you guys to click on and check those places out. Also, I write books. My books are on Amazon. Be sure to check them out. I've written 8 novels, one devotional, 3 football books, 2 high school football novels. One is called Game Day in the RamCave. I released that last September. It's a fictional NFC championship game between the Packers and the Rams, and I got some good feedback on that. And every time you buy one of my books or support our sponsors or buy my books or support us or buy my books on Amazon, you help me in my day job. I'm employed at a very small church in Burbank called Burbank Faith Nazarene, and you can follow us on YouTube at Burbank Faith Virtual and across social media at burbankfaithvirtual.com and other places. So we do appreciate your support. For right now, because we're kind of just trying to make our niche here, I work alone and trying to make sure everything kind of gets figured out here with Restream. Still got some issues connecting with Facebook appropriately. They see us on Facebook, but my chats on Facebook are not appearing. So we're working on that. But until then, iHeart and Spotify, we've put them on hiatus because we just weren't getting any traction there. And you got to go where the clicks are. And so we might as well double down on what we do better as opposed to doubling down on what's not working. And what's not working is straight podcast. What is working is YouTube, Restream, this kind of stuff. And so let you know a little bit about our background there. Let's look at some more questions here. Let me wrap up a couple things with the Rams here. The trade speculation came in, and I know there are a lot of people, they were quoting something from Diane Rossini saying the Rams are among several teams acquired about the Bengals, 3 Bengal players, Trey Hendrickson, Logan Wilson, and Cam Taylor-Britt. And, I know the tendency is, they say it, so it must be true. But, they got their Cam Taylor-Britt in Roger McCreary. They're the same caliber player. Logan Wilson's a good linebacker, but he's making 9.5 rocks next year, and he's on contract for 26 and 27. Really, are the Rams going to pay that kind of money to an off-ball linebacker? They got an issue right now with Nate Landman. Nate Landman's making 1.1 rocks this year. He's a free agent. And if I'm going to give any money to anybody right now, I'm going to give it to Nate Landman. I'm not going to give it to Logan Wilson. So we don't need an off-ball linebacker, which I thought, again, crazy suggestion. So the other one here is Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson's making 30 rocks this year. Of course, he's not really playing very much, but he's a free agent walk guy. He would be a rental. But someone suggested that if you make the move for Hendrickson, you got to give up a number 1. And it's like, no, that's utterly ridiculous. You're not going to give up a number 1 for Trey Hendrickson in his walk year, especially when he's not playing. No, that room is not in trouble. The edge room is not in trouble. The edge room is doing very well. Hendrickson would be a really great piece, but no, you're not going to give up a number 1 for that spot. You might give up a number 1 for a toilet clogger, for a beast in the middle. You might do that. You might give up some other draft capital for a third receiver, a veteran receiver, not a big name guy, but somebody with some experience. You might do that, but you're not going to give up a number 1 for Trey Hendrickson. I mean, sometimes you see these things and you're just wondering, like, what's everybody thinking, right, when they post these things? Drives me crazy. Drives me absolutely crazy. All right, let's get back to some of your guys' thoughts here. Let's see. Boom, 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 boom. Let's see. All right. I'm sorry, guys. I missed a bunch of your stuff. Let's see. Bill, we don't have a 4th rounder to give up for Debo. Okay, give up 2 5ths. Or give up a 4th in 2027, or give up Chase Blackburn. Find them something to give up, right? Something to give up. If they really believed in Debo, and this is just me speculating, I'd give up a 3rd rounder for him. If I thought it would put us over the top. If I really thought they could incorporate him into the offense, make him a piece of the machinery, not just waiting for somebody to go down, but really incorporate him, then I'd give up a 3rd rounder. I would. I just, you can get a 7th rounder back. We'll give you a 3rd rounder. You give us Debo and a 7th rounder. We'll work it out, something like that. But yeah, I'd find a way, right? I'd find a way. Neil Gonzalez is saying, I like the 4 tight end lineup. Should run it off, and it confuses. Yeah, it's just another wrinkle, man. It looks really good. It looks really good. See the Rams converted in the red zone. Let's see here. Mike Gutierrez. Debo would be perfect 13 personnel, but I'd take Shaheed first. He'd be less expensive, I think, but I'm not going to argue it. Let's see. Gilbert Gonzalez. Joe, your guy Forbes was hitting out there on Sunday. Looked pretty good. Yeah, did you see him get physical? Did you see Manuel Forbes get physical? That was really encouraging. I think he's rounding out. And as I was talking with USA Expat this morning, if he doesn't get tackled on a shoestring there, he might have had a pick 6, right? He might have had a pick 6. Let's see. Who am I talking to here? Oren in Connecticut. This live now or a restream. I am live right now in Southern California. It's 4:35 here on the Pacific, and I am broadcasting through Restream, where it's going to YouTube, Twitter, X, and Facebook. So thank you for being here. Okay, then. All right. Thank you for being here, man. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. There we go. We appreciate it. Bill, Eagles picking up Jason Phillips. Jalen Phillips has Philly fans talking about winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, they gave a 3rd rounder for him. And they also went after Jair Alexander. They picked up Jair Alexander, who has done nothing in Baltimore. Do you remember people were talking about Jair Alexander coming to the Rams? Boy, I'm glad we missed that train, right? I'm really glad we missed that train. ESG, I've been waiting all season to say this to you, Pastor Joe. Go Dodgers. You have the right. You have the right. Dodgers did great. You know, and I'm all with you. I'm a Met fan. I spend more money than the Dodgers. It's not about the money. And the people whining about the money, they don't understand, as much as I hate to say it, how great the Dodgers scouting apparatus is, how they know. I mean, you know, they get a Tommy Edmonds, right, that they wanted for a while. He produces. You know, I'm a Met fan. Met Twitter is brutal. And no one in Metdom was upset about Justin Turner leaving the Mets. And he goes to the Dodgers, and he's Ron Say, right? Or Ron Santo. He is great with the Dodgers. Miggy, same guy. Chris Taylor, they got tons of clicks out of. Kiki can't play anywhere else, but he comes to LA and he does this. They knew to keep Andy Pages on the roster when everyone wanted Pages off the roster. So I'm anti-Dodger, but they got it together. They really do. Mike Gutierrez, the only time I was stressed about the game was when we kept our starters in, but I was glad to see McVay played it safe with Nakua. I agree. That was smart. But yeah, I want to see Stafford out of the game, right? I want to see him out of the game. I want to see these guys pulled. I wouldn't even have minded if they pulled some of the offensive linemen. Get Havenstein out. Get him out. Get Alaric Jackson out. Get DJ Humphrey some snaps, right? Just do it and get Garoppolo in there. Let's see. Neil Gonzalez. Finally, I wasn't too stressed. I wasn't too stressed in the second half of the Rams game. Yeah, I never really got stressed. I was more angry at the roughing call on Byron Young. That one ticked me off. Tim Burns, the great Tim Burns. Preach. I'm going to leave that up there for a while. Game Day in the RamCave is a bad book. Bad dude book. There we go. Thank you, Mr. Burns. All right. I do appreciate that. That'll be my default comment there, Mr. Burns. TC, I agree. I think we need another wide receiver. I don't trust Tutu, Whittington, Xavier Smith, or Mumfield to step into wide receiver number 2 if Puka and Devontae Adams has to miss any times going to the playoffs. You know, I like Tutu. I do, but hamstring right now. We're going to the colder part of the season. Where is he going to be? And you know what? McVay failed, right? McVay's failed on this. The Rams gave him 10 rocks to come back. This isn't Tutu's fault. McVay just hasn't figured out how to get Atwell involved in the offense. So, yeah, I've got a problem with that myself. So, and I like Mumfield. I like Smith. I like Whittington. But that's a big thing to ask these rookie receivers or these young receivers to fill into. And let's remember, and I've shared this often, when the Rams signed OBJ in 2021, Robert Woods was still healthy. You know, 48 hours later, he wasn't healthy. Remember, I think it was on a Friday, he blew out his knee, and that was it in his Ram career. And then OBJ, it took him a couple weeks to kind of wind into shape with the Rams. He made a clutch catch in the Baltimore game on a 4th down. And then he took off in the playoffs. And then in the Super Bowl, he was on track to win an MVP. And then he went down. Van Jefferson was banged up. You know, they were playing with Ben Skoranek and Bryson Hopkins. And Bryson Hopkins got four passes and made the key block on the 4th down jet sweep to Cooper Kupp to keep the drive going. And all they had was Cooper Kupp. And so, yeah, those receivers can go down fast, especially the way Nakua plays, and especially, you know, given Adams' age, right? So you need that third receiver, that veteran in the room there. And I don't know who that guy is. Could Rashid Shaheed supply that? I don't know. Deebo Samuel doesn't strike you as Ram material in terms of a locker room guy. I don't know. Calvin Ridley, I don't know. But I think they do need that third guy in there that's a veteran. Totally agree with you. I think we're on page right there. Let's see. Steve, $5 Dodgers are getting $53 million off their books in 2026. Whose money is that? Is that Kershaw money they're getting off their books? Bill, how many chances did the Blue Jays have to win a game? It was just, yeah, ridiculous what the Blue Jays did. I was rooting for them, but it was ridiculous. Mr. Powers down in Laguna. All right. what do you think of Tyquan Thornton from the Chiefs? You know, you really like him? Make your case. To me, he's a guy. He's a guy. I think he's good, but he's a guy. Nothing really. But the Chiefs aren't in the market to swap out, or is there something you would offer the Chiefs? Because Chiefs are 5-4 and technically out of the playoffs. You know, let me ask you guys this, because I forgot to do it before we came on the air. Can one of you guys check and see where the Falcons are in the whole scheme of things in terms of draft? Like, I think the Rams might have a top 15 pick as of right now. Around the NFL and other places, trade deadline is tomorrow, 1 p.m. Pacific Coast time. Packers, Tucker Kraft is out for the year. That's huge for the Packers. Jaden Daniels should be out for the year. I have not heard, but they should shut this dude down. Eagles acquired Jair Alexander and a 7th rounder from Baltimore for a 6th. Eagles send a 6th rounder to Miami for Jalen Phillips. Chargers put Hassan Haskins on the IR. And Michael Hoyt.
They come and they go, Hobbs. They come and they go.
Former Ram, blue-collar guy. We hated to see him go. I think we like Josiah Stewart. 6-game suspension for PEDs to start the year. Comes back, plays 1 game. He has 2 tackles, 1.5 sacks, blows his Achilles. He blew his Achilles out, Michael Hoyt. That is tragic. And he's going to go have to use that degree from Brown to go make $1 million someplace else. But that's a real bummer for Michael Hoyt. Steelers signed Marquez Valdez-Scantling, former Packer, former Chief, former Seahawk, former 49er. This guy keeps getting a paycheck. And I was really surprised. Marvin Harrison Sr., the father of Marvin Harrison Jr., he talked some smack yesterday about the Cardinals not having a clue what they're doing offensively, not getting his son the ball, not crazy about Kyler Murray. Interesting. And I actually heard people talking in various places that the Cardinals might finally really be done with Kyler Murray, which is way too late for them to do it now, but it is something to think about what's going on with the Cardinals, because I think their whole season's is derailed. But, you know, they put a lot of trust in these older guys on defense, and they were all getting banged up. Mike Gutierrez, OBJ didn't strike us as a locker room guy either, and he worked out. Debo will fit in just as well. Yeah, the culture has a tendency to help players keep their mouth shut, right? And especially guys like OBJ, his stock was worth garbage, right, by the time he came to the Rams, because the Browns had put him in the street. Debo Samuel, remember there was talk at one time, and I remember arguing it in the early years on this show when people were saying Debo was an elite receiver. Debo's an elite player, but, you know, he's not exactly manos de pegamento, man. He's not like he has hands of glue, but an all-around versatile player. He's fantastic, and he got paid, and now he's on the wane because the Texans aren't going anywhere, right? He's a free agent. He's not going to get a contract like he has right now. So this would be a great move for him, and he would be a good citizen. I agree with you. I agree with you, Micah. He would be a great citizen. Let's see here. All right, look at that, Micah doing the homework. We would have the 12th pick from Atlanta. 12th pick sounds pretty good right now, right? That sounds really good. Let's see. Neil Gonzalez, T. Higgins or Jamar Chase? Which one we trade for? A 2nd rounder. Bro, did you see the money the Bengals are paying him? Those guys. Did you see the money? I mean, that would blow the whole structure out, right? That would blow the whole structure out. And I think T. Higgins would be somebody they might think about moving. But they, you know, is T. Higgins a 1 or is he more of a 1A, right? And what would be the emotional effect if the Bengals traded Jamar Chase on Joe Burrow? Would Joe Burrow just say, man, get me out of here, right? Just a firestorm down there or up there in Cincy. Definitely. Ron Reese, thank you, Ron, for joining us. McVay needs to learn to pull Stafford when the game's a blowout. This goes on, right? We're losing 40-10 last year in week 2 in Arizona, and Stafford's out there. That's just crazy. Just crazy. Someone needs to question him in the KBM. McVay said in his press conference they're focusing on the special team issues in the next 48 hours. It's going to be interesting what they do. I think dumping Carty is low-hanging fruit. I really think it's low-hanging fruit. If you got to put more starters in there on that front line on the kicking team, then do it. I think cutting Carty, I just don't know if that's the ultimate answer right now. I just don't know. I mean, in McSneed we trust, right? In McSneed we trust. Micah, Cardinals will have a top 10 pick next year, and there's a lot of quarterbacks on the board. But it's the Cardinals, right? They're going to draft a Matt Leinart. They're going to draft a Josh Rosen. They're going to go after the fool's gold of Kyler Murray. Monty Ossenfort might not be that kind of a guy. So, but this is the history of the Cardinals, right? They drafted Kelly Stauffer. They drafted Tim Rosenbach. They drafted Steve Pizarkowitz, right? They drafted the guys they've drafted to be their top guy. Just hasn't worked out too often. Jake Plummer did pretty well, right? Jake Plummer did pretty well. I'll say that. Let's see. ESG. McVay had me worried keeping Stafford out there in a blowout, especially after what happened to Jaden Naylor. Absolutely. So this isn't unique to me. This is all of us feeling that. So, yeah, thank you guys for affirming that. All right, let's review the season here. Or week 9. I'm sorry, was it week 9? I think it's week 9. So Ravens beat the Dolphins 28-6. Dolphins fire their GM. I took the Bengals in the Virgil Carter Bowl, and the Bears won 47-42. Again, what a nightmare. What a nightmare in Cincy. Vikings at Lions. I took the Lions at home in the Henry Thomas Bowl, and Minnesota won. Here's the funny thing. They were kept burying J.J. McCarthy. All the guy does is kind of win on the road, right? That's all he does. Panthers 5-4. They win in Lambeau in the Julius Peppers Bowl. Packers fall to 5-2-1. And speaking of empty calories, Micah Parsons, 2 tackles, 0 sacks. I told you, Micah Parsons is not a difference maker. He eats when everything is on the table, but he's not going to go out and hunt down that food. I'm not a Micah Parsons guy. Might be a good guy, but I'm not a Micah Parsons guy. Broncos at Texans. I took the Broncos, the Gary Kubiak Bowl. Denver won 18-15 in typical Denver fashion. And Davis Allen actually got on the field. Not Davis Allen. Miles Davis. Oh, gosh, the name of the quarterback. Davis, the backup quarterback for the Texans. I got Davis Allen on the mind. He actually got on the field, and I always thought he was a pretty good prospect that somebody should bring in. I made a pitch that the Rams should trade for him because we didn't know what was going to happen with Stafford after 2021. Davis Mills. That's what it is. Davis Mills. Yeah, he should get some traction. I don't think he's that bad. Falcons at Patriots. I took the Patriots in the Hugh Millen Bowl. New England missed extra point. Atlanta mixed extra point. Good for the Rams. 12th overall pick as of right now. 49ers at Giants. I took the 49ers in the YA Tittle Bowl. Fog City 34-24. I love it. Just keep giving McCaffrey touches. Just keep pounding the ball to McCaffrey. Let him get all that wear and tear, and it'll pay dividends for the Rams down the stretch. Colts looked awful, and they gave that game to the Steelers in the Roy Jefferson Bowl. Everyone's buying Steelers stock today. Even Steeler fan Rob told me on the side that if he wasn't a Steeler fan, he would have picked against them against the Colts. And now, of course, he's, marching down the street leading the parade. But I wouldn't buy this win by the Steelers. If Colts play the Steelers again, that's not happening. I'm still not sold on the Steelers. Chargers at Titans, Charlie Joyner Bowl, Bolts 27-20, too close. Lost Hassan Haskins, lose Joe Alt. Spanos, man, that Spanos curse is holding on like grim death. Rams beat the Saints in the Jim Everett Bowl 34-10. Jaguars at Raiders, the kid with a 70 or a 68-yard field goal. Maurice Jones-Drew Bowl. Jags win 30-29. Pete goes for 2. I think I just would have kicked the extra point and gone into overtime. Chiefs at Bills. Chiefs fall to 5-4 and technically right now out of the playoffs in the Sammy Watkins Bowl. Bills improved to 6-2. They're 28-21, but they got some holes on defense. And last night, the Jim Zorn Bowl was all Sam Darnold. Taxkins are done. They are done. and Seattle won 38-14. Play for 2026. Do not bring Jaden Daniels back if he's able to come back, and send Deebo Samuel to the Rams for a 4th-round pick in 2027. Okay, there you go. And we'll get this thing worked out. Cardinals, Cowboys. I heard Jacoby Brissett is actually starting tonight in the Jay Novacek Bowl. All right, cool. I think we got that in there. Let's see. Sorry, guys. I want to make sure I get this. Who do we got here? Bill, Jim Hart, only Cardinal quarterback I can think of when it comes to Cardinals quarterbacks. My first year following them, they had a backup quarterback named Tim Van Galder. And then he went into sports broadcasting, I think, there in St. Louis. But Neil Lomax, 2nd round, 1981 out of Portland State. His son ended up playing at APU. I think he was a tight end. But Neil Lomax actually could really move the ball downfield, hitting Roy Green. I think he had some years with Stump Mitchell. And I think he had a good first season in Arizona when they were the Phoenix Cardinals. And then he had hip replacement. And then his career ended a little bit prematurely. Then they drafted Tim Rosenbach. That didn't work out. So, yeah, there was a whole lot of things there that didn't work out for the Cardinals. But Neil Lomax, I forgot about Neil Lomax, but 2nd-round pick. 2nd-round pick. There you go. Let's see. What about Rashid Shaheed from New Orleans? Yeah, Mr. Burns, we're all over that one. We'll dance. We'll dance with that one. That would be pretty cool. Tim Burns, he's on a 1-year contract and having a solid year. Absolutely. You don't have to argue with us on that one. I'll do it. USA Expect, November is where we take charge of the division. I would argue if they do things right, they're taking charge of the NFC because everyone's going to be looking, oh my gosh, the Rams, right? Everyone's going to be looking at the Rams. ESG, boom. Super Bowl odds changed. I believe the Rams are now favored to win the NFC. Really? I did not know that. Let's see here. Mr. Burns, family emergency, father-in-law there. Oh, yeah, of course, Mr. Burns. I got you covered. I'll touch base with you a little bit later on. Keeping you in prayer, Tim. All right. Real quick here. This day in Ram history.
It was a stone group, my man.
And it really was a stone group. On this day in 2021, the Rams waived former Eagles standout Deshaun Jackson. Remember Deshaun Jackson wasn't getting enough touches, wasn't satisfied with just running fly patterns, gave up an opportunity to win a ring. OBJ came in and got that ring. From what I heard about the Rams, because later Jackson, I think, signed with the Raiders, I heard the Rams actually sent him a ring. That's pretty classy. But Deshaun Jackson really miffed it. You know, there was a old skit on Saturday Night Live called What Were You Thinking? And they're talking to these people about, like, Walter Mondale, you know, why did you say let's raise taxes sky high? What were you thinking, right? Shelley Long, why did you leave Cheers? What were you thinking? Deshaun Jackson, why did you blow it with the Rams in 2021? What were you thinking? And on this day, the Rams waived Deshaun Jackson. On this day, 50 years ago, 1975, I saw this game, Monday Night Football. Rams beat Philly 42-3. Jack Snow catches the last touchdown pass of his career on a 42-yard pass from James Harris. Now, James Harris completed 10 of 20 passes for 3 touchdowns for 207 yards. He threw a 54-yard touchdown pass to Harold Jackson, another 30-yard touchdown pass to Harold Jackson before he went 42 yards to Jack Snow, and that was the end of Jack Snow's career. Rams had already brought in Ron Jesse, and the next year going into 76, the Rams decided to keep Dwight Scales and Freeman Johns, and it was over for Jack Snow. Also interesting in this game, Fred Dreyer had a 20-yard scoop and score, and Isaiah Robertson had a pick six, 76-yard pick six return for a touchdown. Isaiah Robertson, man, Rams get to a couple of Super Bowls, underlooked, underrated. This guy, I'd take him over Jack Ham. But because Jack Ham went to the Super Bowls, Jack Ham gets all the glory. Give me Butch Robertson any day of the week. He played in a different era. Rams didn't have to blitz, so he doesn't have sack totals. But Isaiah Robertson was a playmaker. Rams were getting home with Dreyer, Youngblood, Brooks, and Olsen. So people will say, well, he didn't have any sacks because, you know, they've gone by and recounted the sacks unofficially. Robertson was a Hall of Fame talent. And if the Rams had gone to a couple of bigger games, made a couple of Super Bowl appearances in his tenure, we would be talking Hall of Fame for Butch Robertson. In fact, I remember about 2 minutes before Robertson picked off that pass, I think he picked it off from Mike Borrella. The starting quarterback for the Eagles that night was Roman Gabriel. And I think he picked off Borrella, I think. And he went 76 yards to the house. And Howard Cosell had said about Robertson a few minutes before not having one of his best years. And then Robertson picks it off, and he was great with the ball, just running and weaving through traffic for the score. And then you hear Cosell, Cosell says, truly one of the great linebackers in our game. And he started praising him as if he hadn't been talking trash on him a few minutes before. So there you go. We got that one in there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Any other questions? We're at the 50-minute mark. We will talk Ram football on Wednesday because we're going to break down who's playing Thursday night, and then we'll break down the schedule next week. Rams have we know who the Rams are playing. They've got they've got the 49ers next week. I feel really confident about that 49er game. And then they get the 49ers, then they get the Seahawks and Buccaneers at home. And they could literally have control of the NFC totally. And we're also talking about home field advantage, which I don't know. Does Ram fans, do you really worry? Things I don't worry about with the Ram fans. I don't worry about, McVay getting coach of the year. I don't worry about Stafford being an MVP because honestly, I don't think these guys care. Aaron Rodgers has 3 MVPs and him and Stafford have the same number of Super Bowls, right? But I do care about the team winning, right? We all do. So I really don't care whether or not they collect all the bling, but I do care about, I want them to be at home where they're comfortable and win. But do you fear the Rams playing on the road? I just don't. Do not fear them being on the road in the playoffs. I don't want to go to Lambeau, but I don't have any fear because of who Stafford is. He's an all-weather quarterback. Rams haven't had a quarterback, right? We can have an argument about Kurt Warner, but the Rams in their history have never had a quarterback that can go into those conditions like they were in Philly, and he's going to thrive and not just survive. And so I'm feeling really good about this. The Rams beat the Saints, so they're 6-2. If they beat the Niners, the Seahawks, and the Bucks, they're 9-2, and then going to Carolina, who the Panthers have to be respected, but they're not dangerous. And the Rams could be 10-2 when they go to Arizona to play the Cardinals. And they could be 11-2 after that one. And then they get the Lions at home in week 15. And you're talking then the bye. First round. I'm more interested in the bye than I am probably in home field advantage, right? So that's just where the Rams are at right now. And there's an opportunity here to do just that, to take control of everything going forward. Let's see here. Let's see. USA Expat. What do we got here? All right. After a playoff game, I saw Robertson getting into a limo with 2 hotties waiting. Which playoff game was that? I was at the 74 game. Was it that one where he picked off Jurgensen? Mike Gutierrez, I'll be there for the Bucks game. All right. Send me video. I want to see if I can plant some video that you guys sent me from the stadium. I want to be able to run it here. I think I'm able to do that. So take some video from the stadium, 30 seconds worth or something, and I'll see if I can run it here. That would be kind of fun. All right, just before we go, I did want to throw this in here because I didn't get a chance to. So the Rams only played 40 snaps of defense, right? The offense, kept eating clock, and when the defense had to be on there, they kept getting off the field. You had peanut punches by Nate Landman, the third one that caused a turnover this year. I thought the pass rush was okay. Tyler Shough dealt with it, got rid of the ball fast. Emmanuel Forbes got his first pick. But Lake, Curl, Durant, and Forbes, they led the team. They played every defensive snap, all 40 defensive snaps. Jared Verse played 37 snaps. Byron Young, 32, Josiah Stewart, 14. Nick Hampton, I think, had 2 at the end. Then along the front, Kobe Turner, 30, Braden Fisk, 25, Poona Ford, 20, Tyler Davis, 13, Ty Hamilton, 4, Laurel Murchison, 1. Roger McCreary had no defensive snaps, but this was really good. Your defense was not taxed, right? Your defense was not taxed in this game, so they should be very fresh going to Frisco this coming week. Now, think about this. The Rams had 2 takeaways, 2 sacks, 1 got taken away, and they only gave up a touchdown following that roughing the passer call. Saints only had 40 snaps. They were 2 of 9 on 3rd down, 0 for 2 on 4th down, right? Do you know who graded out as the bottom 5 Ram defenders yesterday? Bottom 5 Ram defenders on PFF. This is what's so funny about PFF. I think Quentin Lake was 15, Byron Young was 16, Braden Fisk was 17, Nate Landman was 18, and Jared Verse graded out as the worst overall defensive player for the Rams yesterday. Tell me that's not funny. The joke is that I subscribe to the service, right? Which, man, I don't know. I'm starting to think I got to go someplace else. Is there an alternative to PFF? Is that the Rams only allow 10 points, 1 touchdown after a cheap call, stop them on 4th down, make them go 2 of 9 on 3rd down, limit them to 40 snaps, and the worst player on the field defensively for the Rams, according to PFF, was Jared Verse, Nate Landman, Braden Fisk, Byron Young, and Quentin Lake? Heaven help me. Who's grading these games? Mina Kimes? Who's doing this? I don't get it. I do not get it at all. All right. Let's see here. This is it. We'll wrap it up with these questions here, guys. Who is this? CC, hot take. Blake Corum is better than Kyron Williams. Better explosion. I like Kyron in pass protection better. And we've got production from Kyron Williams consistently. But I think as far as hitting that hole quicker, I do like I think he's got a little more home run speed with Corum. And I don't think Corum has a lot, but we know Kyron has none. So I'm not going to argue with you. I like Blake Corum a lot. Hey, maybe the Rams could get a second rounder from the Chargers for him because they're so in need of a running back. Mike Gutierrez, I don't care about home field advantage for the wild card game because I think we'll be playing another NFC West team. I just want the bye. I just would like the bye. Vikings game, Pastor Joe. So was that the playoff game in 78 where we worked them? I think it was 34-10, or was that the Mud Bowl? What was that? The Mud Bowl? Which one? Because I'm trying to think. Vikings at home. We had the Vikings on the road in 74, Vikings on the road in 76, and I wasn't around. And Isaiah wasn't around in 69. That was in on the road too. Which one was that at? I'd be curious to know. All right, cool. We got it in, and we'll go from there. So, guys, be sure to toss up a prayer for Tim Burns and his family. That's Hobbles Growl 32 that you see there. And we'll do this all over again. Thank you for hanging out. It's a lot of fun. Take care.